Healing Wednesdays, and the Circle of 12 is where you're at. I am Lee Carroll.
And I'm Monica Morani.
Well, indeed, we are back. Happy Wednesday, September 14th. Every Wednesday evening of the year, we come together with special guests. We have meditations, we have questions. Of course, we have channeling. There are replays for you in case you have internet issues. Did you know, for those of you, especially in the chat room, did you know that 15 minutes before this program starts, at least 15 minutes, we start a video and an audio? And you might ask, why would we do that? It's so you can test it to make sure that you're getting it. But if you still are not happy when there's some internet problems, then I'll just be aware, watch the replay of the program at about an hour after the show. It's a perfect recording.
So what I want to tell you about, if you're watching the live stream, there is an amazing portal that you have. That's where you go, where you can watch the replay, but that's also where you go to see all the extra goodies that we have in there for you. There's a fully documented index of every program that we've done. There's also special music from certain shows, and I know that people have been using that. It's just so wonderful to do a meditation to that special music. And then we've got shows in there just for you, as well as an area for prayer requests and much more.
Now for all the new members, the Moo members. A Moo member would be a cow. For the new members, all the Healing Wednesday programs feature replays forever. If you didn't know that, there's no time cutoff or episodes or something. They're all there, and they will be, and it's a growing library. So I encourage you to have a new look at these very nice and usable features in your membership portal.
Now, something that Lee and I have been working on for months, and it's a secret, although we keep saying it's a secret, but you've heard it a few times now.
Yeah, we've been talking about this for a long time, but we indeed have been doing it for months. We want to let you know about it again. Lee and Monica, why do you keep talking about this? Because it's important that you know something is coming, folks.
We're excited. I think they can tell.
We're starting a Cryon online school to teach many of the things that we used to feature during our weekly conferences that we used to have all over the world. And in addition, we're actually able to go even deeper with some of these more profound esoteric concepts that were impossible during a seminar.
Now, since 2020, the way that Lee presents Cryon has completely changed. And instead of traveling to live events every single weekend, which it's almost hard to believe that that's what we did. Every weekend we were traveling, and then we would have extended trips overseas to Europe, South America, Australia, New Zealand. However, synchronicity from 2020 led to the creation of the Cryon studio, which Lee he's in nerd heaven with his nerd techs in the studio. And Healing Wednesday is possible because of this new normal that has been created. However, the many subjects that Lee would give about Cryon's teachings simply stopped when we stopped doing that enormous amount of travel and live events we did. But with the newly built studio, it's actually given us the opportunity to teach these online and to actually develop them even further and even more in depth. That's just not possible during a weekend seminar. So you already know the name of it, but I'm going to repeat it again. It's called the Chrysalis Academy, named for the well-known transformation of a caterpillar to a butterfly.
Well, the very first course Monica and I are going to give and teach together is about core spiritual truths. It represents some of the most powerful and profound sacred information which has first taught to humanity from those who gave us our spiritual DNA. On the Big Island of Hawaii in 2017, something amazing happened. Cryon revealed how the grand truths of God were taught in ancient Lemuria. I've been waiting for over 5 years to teach this subject in the way that it was meant to be taught. And finally, that syllabus is pouring into my life, literally, and for the construction, the teaching of this information. Some of you may have heard of this. It's called the Lemurian Teaching Wheel. This is something that we have endeavored to teach a few times in special conferences in the past years. But Cryon never gave me any added information beyond what was given in the 2017 event. Now, I'm used to getting that new information. I knew there was more, but it never happened. So we stopped and waited. And in these lessons now, the way we can give them now, there's a great deal more information about the core truths, the Creator, how these concepts were taught. It's exciting for me. These are beautiful truths that I wish I had learned in church, or some wise person at least had told me when I was a child. In order to correctly convey the sincere compassion, love, wisdom, and how those star mothers taught the Lemurians, it'll take over 40 lessons to teach it.
So together, Lee and I are going to rewind the time machine and travel back to Lemuria, taking you on a journey to visit the spokes and concepts of the wheel, just as the children and the young adults learned it as they sat at the feet of their star mother teacher. These Lemurian children and young adults studied the elements and concepts of the wheel for a period of about 12 years, and it gave them an advanced conceptual awareness of their multidimensional nature without question. They knew they were a part of the Creator, and they knew they were eternal. Through Lee's new information from Cryon, you'll be privy to the conversations between the star mothers and their students. And these star mothers, they were teachers who used masterful psychology that helped young students understand very high spiritual concepts that allowed them to be taught the magnificence of their existence. And this Lemurian Teaching Wheel Masterclass series, it's going to be offered soon. And because you're a member of the Circle of 12, you'll be the first ones to know about it when it's ready. So thanks for indulging us in sharing that new project with you. We're so excited and passionate about it. And now we'd like to move to the questions that have been submitted by our beautiful Circle of 12 members. And again, you can find that in your portal. You can submit a question in there, ask questions that others will be interested in. Remember, Lee and I are not therapists, and keep those questions short and concise. This next question, it comes from Marvin, and Marvin is in New York, US, and he's saying, what is it about imagination anyway? What role does it play in healing? It seems like it could be huge, but there still seems to be a bias limiting it because of its fictional nature.
Okay. How come all of a sudden I'm getting questions that Plato couldn't answer? These are hard, folks. For me, I think imagination is a construct of consciousness that often happens by itself, from itself, without outside input. So it's developed by us. But Marvin, the wording of your question is also, I think, the answer to it. This is one of these questions where you answered it as you ask it. Part of imagination that has been studied is the effect of what we'll call mirror neurons in the brain. Imagine you're eating something really good. Wow. You start to salivate and your tummy starts to gurgle. So right away we realize that imagination also involves the physical body at a really high level. So it's not just imagination, they're connected. So what if some kind of imaginary simulation of healing you thought was real created some kind of physical effect? That's exactly what Cryon has predicted. Virtual healing centers, where your imagination combined with a simulation creates chemical change in your body. I love that. Marvin, you said, quote, this could be huge, unquote. You're right, it can be. You're really absolutely right on. Imagination can actually create a type of reality within us, a new reality, one that can heal us completely. This has been verified, but it's hard to create. That's all part of the many think yourself well processes that we're so familiar with. The second part of your question, it's a statement that asks basically if we limit ourselves because we think it's just fictional thoughts. Well, I think that's exactly right, and many agree. We don't understand how imagination could manifest anything, so our bias is to discount it completely. We imaginate things just like kids do. It's about retraining, I think, our consciousness to accept what we can do and to realize that imagination doesn't just come from our brains. Consciousness, which is involved in imagination, comes from our soul energy. It exists outside of the computer brain that we give so much credibility to. Imagination and intuition are also related. since they are both, I would say, involved in something that comes from the same place. So, Marvin, just reading your question gives us a wonderful answer. We need to give more credibility to the divine things within us and what we are actually able and designed to accomplish.
I love that whole idea of imagination and healing. And I think that's the secret for educating our children, is to have them have more imagination instead of just getting them to regurgitate what we teach them. And
we've had those who have come on our show that said, look, consciousness is there whether we're alive or not. I mean, this is just, it's an amazing thing to hear.
Absolutely.
That's another story.
Yeah, so I loved your question, Marvin, which is why I chose it.